What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Too Much to Watch. I'm your host, Sean, and today we are going to talk about a movie I just watched as of last night. You've seen some reviews on it out there right now. It is the latest from James Wan. It's called Malignant. It is James Wan's return to the horror genre. And I'm going to do a quick review. I say quick because this is going to be a non-spoiler review of the movie. And pretty much you don't want to spoil this movie at all for people that haven't seen it. Pretty massive twist ending that I really don't want to get into. I really want people to see it for themselves. So this review is going to be real quick. But what I will say is three words. What a ride. This movie is absolutely bananas from start to finish. It goes in all kinds of directions, and it is absolutely a blast to watch. If you are a lover of horror movies or just fun, crazy movies in general, I highly recommend this movie. So from start to finish, this movie, I looked over person I was watching the movie with last night and said, this movie really doesn't quit. It really doesn't stop. Like right off the bat, watching horror movies or some movies in general takes kind of a slow burn to get working, to find out what the plot is or what the story is. You'll definitely be guessing throughout the movie as to what's going on and what the twist will be. It's not a spoiler to say that there's a pretty big twist going on. You will be questioning kind of early on what's happening, and but this movie pretty much doesn't quit, and it's fun from beginning to end. Again, like I said, directed by James Wan. He stepped away from horror for a little bit to go direct Aquaman for DC and on Warner Brothers. He had producing credits on the latest Conjuring 3, but hasn't directed a horror movie in a while. And this was his return. And really, truly, what a return. This movie, I will say this movie kind of starts out a very typical James Wan horror haunted situation early on. Has a lot of the same tropes that he does. He's really, really great at cinematography, at suspense and thrills and horror. But he really goes a whole different direction throughout the rest of the movie. This movie stars Annabelle Wallis, who's been in a Conjuring spinoff in the past. You've seen her in the first Annabelle spinoff. And she was pretty great in this. Really brings a lot of terror to her face, really trying to understand what's happening to her. A quick synopsis. She's the main protagonist in the movie. Her name is Madison, and she is seeing visions of a killer's killings across Seattle, and trying to understand why and how she can see what she's seeing. After losing a baby early in the movie to miscarriage, she's pretty traumatized, and this adds to her trauma. And then the rest of the movie is trying to figure out what's going on with her, what's going on out in the world. Really, really crazy. I said I have not had this much fun in a horror movie since I think Cabin in the Woods, the Chris Hemsworth horror movie Cabin in the Woods, bunch of years ago, and that movie to me was a ton of fun. I think horror lately, although they can be fun. Depending on the type of movie you like, horror obviously is very stressful, very suspenseful, at times very serious, coming off of the Conjuring universe movies. Although he's got producing credits, coming off of those movies where they tend to be very serious and have a serious tone to them about possession and demonology and all this stuff. This movie really, I think, and even in an interview, he talks about wanting to do something very different, and he goes for it here. And one of the most talented directors working today, we obviously seen him jump from horror over to action when he was doing Aquaman with Jason Momoa, and for DC, and he can really hit it out of the park there with just a crazy fun movie. And he comes back and brings some of that fun to me, at least watching Aquaman. He brings some of that fun here. The movie's not perfect by any means. Definitely has some like B movie tropes to it. I think some of the acting is a little suspect. Aside from Annabelle Wallis, there really isn't too many main or well-known actors throughout this. And some of that shows. Some of them are a little bit over the top in their acting portrayals of some of their characters. I think some of the plot holes are a little off. Some of the powers that some people have in this are a little not really necessarily explained so much. Why people can do what they do. So some of that stuff is kind of glossed over, but mostly for the sake of the craziness and the fun of what they're trying to build here. But truly, this is an absolute blast. From again, starting out very normal James Wan-esque horror movie to really turning something special. Not necessarily knowing if the sequel is in the works, but certainly what he does here and some of the shots that he makes, some of the choices that he makes. I can understand it, and hearing some things, there's some divisiveness to it. If you go into this not thinking of The Conjuring and thinking of that universe and just thinking of like a wild horror movie, I think you'll have a lot more fun. I think, again, we can get a little too serious with some horror movies and times, but this one is just crazy from the beginning to the end. This is not a movie for children whatsoever. I think you can kind of argue if Conjuring and things need to be R. Definitely the content of those movies with demonology and possession and the intensity of some of those movies can garner an R rating. This absolutely needs an R rating. Not only is there some cursing, but blood and gore throughout. Again, saying slasher flick. Absolutely throughout. In particular, there is a scene in a prison that had my jaw on the floor as to what we were seeing and what was happening. And I let out audible laughs, but in a good way. And general enjoyment. This is probably, again, one of the most fun horror movies. Not one of the best by any means, but one of the most fun, period. Not really scary, just more of like jaw-dropping, what are we watching? But kudos to you, James Wan. Kudos to Warner's for taking a chance, really letting a director spread his wings a little bit in a genre that he pretty much nails every time he steps into the ring. From Saw to Insidious to The Conjuring, this guy can put some great stuff on screen, and I think he does it again here with just a bananas movie that I absolutely think you should watch if you're a fan of James Wan, if you're a fan of horror, if you're a fan of just wild, insane movies. Absolutely give this a check out. Again, not wanting to spoil this, so it is going to be a little shorter of a video, probably good for you all. And if you watch some of my other videos, I can get a little long-winded. So I'm going to leave it here. If you have HBO Max, go check it out right now. If it's in a theater and you feel comfortable going to a theater, go to see it in a theater. If it comes out on Blu-ray, 4K, digital, whatever, when it comes out, if you're watching it then, absolutely watch this. Anytime you can get a chance to watch this, especially for the first time, please do. I hope you find this enjoyable. I hope this a little bit informative. If you were on the fence about this or you didn't even know what was going on, hopefully this helped you go check out this movie. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I hope to do more reviews and more discussion videos coming in the near future. But until then, I hope you all are doing well. Hope you all are doing safe. Thanks for stopping by and taking a little time today.